Hello, welcome to a new episode of VOM Podcast on MNB WORLD. Today we've invited Ms. Baasan Ragchaa, Diplomat of Honor of Mongolia. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
It was a pleasure.
Okay, let's our interview that your work and profession.
Oh, I have been working at the Foreign Ministry of Mongolia for the last almost 39 years as a diplomat and joined in 1967 Foreign Ministry. So many years have collapsed. So now I'm enjoying in pension.
Mm-hmm. Okay, please tell us about your beginning of your work.
Yeah, when I just joined the Foreign Service, and after about 1.5 years, I got my first appointment to India as an interpreter, the translator at our embassy in New Delhi. And so that time I spent about 3 years, and then came back to Mongolia and took over all the last maybe almost more than 10 years. I have been in the Asia department, dealing with the political relations with the Asian countries. And then of course I have taken over the America desk, and that was a time when we were just preparing to establish diplomatic relations with the United States. And since then I have been with the American desk and the Canada, North America actually, until the day I retired. Yeah.
I see. Okay, please tell about your published book here.
Yeah, this was a book, just my services to my country. In addition to that, my work as a political diplomat in the Foreign Service. I used to carry out the duty of translator, actually interpreter, to our party and the head of state and the heads of ministries and the Prime Minister of Mongolia, and also all those high dignitaries who visited Mongolia. And of course it was not a appointed duty, but it was in addition to that what I used to carry in the Foreign Service. So my first interpretation with the high officials was in 1970 with then the chairman of we used to call the Presidium of the State Great Choral, Honorable Minister Sambo.
I see.
Yeah, that was my first high-level interpretation I made, yeah.
Do you remember, could you please share your interesting or funny cases or occasions during the translation, state translation?
And I think, I don't remember, because in the beginning, just before I should say, going to the meeting, I was really excited, one hand. On the other hand, I was afraid. Because it was the first time I'm going to translate to the high-level officials. But once I was already started doing the interpretation, I was so much relaxed, because it depends on the person who is talking, the high level. So that Honorable Sambo was person who really encouraged you.
Wow.
So that was really, I always say that has opened my path to do the high level translations. I was very lucky.
Wow, yes, really. And how about your advice to young interpreters? What would you say?
And of course I can say many things. you know. But first of all, I must say that if you are learning the language, foreign language, and your knowledge of Mongolian language should be exactly at the same level.
Yes.
This is very important because you know, when you are translating something, that is very important. If you find the right word, I mean the Mongolian word, or if you are translating from Mongolian into English, then again, you should find the right word. So my main advice will be, knowledge of language is not just for talking. So
Exactly.
if you are doing some translation work, or if you are doing some interpretation, so the language level of your knowledge should be very high. Because at that time you have very little time to think over and to choose the right word. So it should come out just automatically. So therefore, always think about the knowledge level of your native language as well as a foreign language.
But your profession is international relation, and but you made like the translations of high level of state visits.
Yes, I did, and also the.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
it's wonderful.
great.
Lots of memories.
Yes.
And also when our presidents, prime ministers, foreign ministers, and you know, when they were at the high level, Mongolians visits foreign countries, I always used to accompany them to interpret to them, you know. And whenever mostly the high level of that level visits Mongolia, also I was doing the translation as well. In addition to that, my desk work. But I enjoy it because that increases your knowledge, and your responsibility also increases. And as for that, I can remember many of the higher dignitaries because...
Could you imply some of the state visits you made translation?
Yeah, because when President Ochilbat made the visits to Asian countries, Australia, New Zealand, England, you know, and Belgium, etc., I accompanied. And I have never forgotten our visit to Her Highness Queen Elizabeth.
Wow.
I met her, and it's in the book. Because at that time, I really was not in a situation of embarrassing or anxious. No, I was already used to. So, and I never forget what a kind person was.
And honorable, yeah.
Oh yes, of course. and then of course I have translated to State Secretary Baker when he visited Mongolia 3 times. When he first came, he spent only a day, then the Kuwait War broke. And then next year he came, and so I was, all the time I interpreted to him. And Hillary Clinton, when she was First Lady, I translated to her. Then she was in other occupations, I was also her interpreter. So from America, like that.
Great.
But from England, yeah, Queen Elizabeth, Princess Anne, and so many people, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
wonderful. Yes.
Very nice, you know,
Yeah.
because you know how nice the people are, how they are very high dignitaries.
And yeah.
But you don't feel when you are translating to them it just gives you such a relaxation. You don't worry or you don't hurry. It depends to whom you are translating.
Great.
Even the Mongolian side. I remember a Mongolian, our former president, Sidenbal. So he was such a kind person because I remember in one time the Burmese, at that time the Myanmar used to call Burma. Burmese ambassador came to present his credentials, and after the presentation, he was having a talk with our President Sidenbal. And then the Burmese ambassador said, in Burma, we grow yellow rice, black rice, red rice, white rice. And that I really was, I don't know. I was really lost. Because what I know, only I know what does white rice means. In Mongolia, it's only Tsagambuta.
Yes.
There's no other names. So I never forget. And my translation was, in Mongolia, we grow Tsagambuta, Odlan Tsagambuta, Shar Tsagambuta, Har Tsagambuta. So that is how,
Yes.
And then it just went like that way. And when they finished and I was moving to the door, and President Sidenbal asked, Baasan, would you come close to my table? And I thought, no, that is a finish. And when I came to him, he said, that part of the ambassador, what he said is really difficult to translate into Mongolian, because from ancient time we used the rice, we used to have only white rice.
Yes.
So therefore, no, there is other Mongolian words. So it was really difficult for you. And I was thinking, if you have such a problem next time, how you will solve it. And then he gave me the Mongolian version. Цагаанбуданы хар тутраг.
Oh my God.
Цагаанбуданы улаан тутраг. Цагаанбуданы хар тутраг.
Oh my
So
God.
he was thinking, he knew how difficult it was for the translator.
Yes, yes.
And that I never forget. He was such a kind person,
Oh my God, that's
It's
so interesting
like
story.
this,
Yes.
things happens.
Very
really.
interesting story.
Very interesting story. I
Yes.
never forget. Yeah, it's like that. And
So
then,
memorable.
yeah, I always remember that. And so many things happens. And then when you translate, at that time actually, we did not have many simultaneous translators, so used to do the simultaneous interpretation whenever there is some international conference or some important consultations, etc. And then I started translating, not only translating, interpretation and simultaneous.
Okay.
It also came to me.
That's so interesting. Okay, could you share your opinion or thoughts about your foreign appointments?
Okay, as I said, the first I went to India. That was, of course, as a translator and the interpreter. It was not difficult, but it was very difficult. On the side it was my first appointment, and so it was not easy. And then, of course, it went out, and it gave me...
When you pointed to India, what's your responsibilities there?
Oh, that is, any document which prepared by the embassy, I have to translate it into English, and so the notes, letters, and to send. I always sit at that phone to give the answer in the response to any calls comes to the embassy. So it gave me lots of, practice.
India was your first appointment, yeah? Okay.
And then I was appointed twice to India, and in both cases I was responsible for political affairs. The first is the third secretary, then second secretary. It was different because it's all political affairs of the two countries.
How about your appointment of Afghanistan? How about the year? What year?
In Afghanistan, what was the year exactly? I don't remember, but it was the year when the Russian troops came, I would say invited, or as the Afghans used to say, and they came to Kabul. And that time I was in Kabul. And it was the first time I experienced what is war. What is that, all the sounds, and because our embassy is not very far away from the Radio Afghanistan. So therefore, any foreign troops comes, now I learned that time, they first go to the Radio Afghanistan. So they have to occupy first the radio, so to declare, And so I remember that was the great experience. I spent there 4 years.
Oh,
yeah.
Really
and
long
then
time. You experienced much from Afghanistan.
Yeah. And
maybe you first saw the war process or war environment. How did you feel it?
Exactly. It was the first time I saw the war. I experienced the war. Even that time, our ambassador was a great man, the Shakhtar Surin, And when the first, guns and all these sounds came, we have left our house and went to the embassy building to be all in one place. And I remember when I just went outside the street, I just put my hands on the hair, and the Shakhtar Exchange ambassador said, Baasan, that's not the protection. Remember, I have never seen, never heard that gunshot and all these things. It was a great experience, I must say. But the Afghan people are great people. I like them. Yeah, it's a great experience. Years.
Okay. Please tell us about your research studies at Indiana University, USA.
Yeah, because after that, and all this, in my last appointment was the political first secretary in our embassy in Washington, D.C., in the United States of America. And after 4.5 years, when I came back to Mongolia, then I got the proposal to do some research work at the Indian University. So I came back to Mongolia, and then I spoke to our foreign ministry authorities. And so then I retired from the foreign service and went to Indiana to pick up my research work, which I spent 6 years.
Oh, that's a long time, yeah.
The research was focused on the U.S.-Mongolian relations. And as a result of the 6 years' work, I brought up a book, 20th Century U.S.-Mongolian Political Relations and the Impact of China into Russia.
Okay, I see.
And so that was the outcome of the 6 years I spent at Indiana University.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the time to finish our interview. Thank you for accepting our invitation, coming to our studio.
Thank you very much for receiving me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Well, that's the end of this edition of the VOM Podcast on MNB World. Thank you for being with us, and goodbye.